Good evening and welcome to another program of Live from Region Number 2. I'm your host, Shurwayne Holder, your Member of Parliament for Region Number 2 with responsibility for Region Number 2 and also Chairman of the People's National Congress Reform. I want to say a special good night to each and every one of you. And I would encourage you to share the live. Miss Gloria Wilson, you're the first on the live, the first that I can see. So I want to say a special good night to you. You're always on the live. I'm very familiar with that name. Looking all the way from the US, Sharon Edwards from New York. Special good night to you as well, and all the folks there in New York, Rickford Burke, and all the others up there. Mr. Ron Sultan, good night to you. You know, the US folks seem to be coming in very, very quickly. I'm happy that our supporters in the diaspora are focusing on what is happening and paying attention to our programs. This is one way in which the opposition can get the word out and to give you a clear update as to what exactly is happening in our country. As it relates to this program, I try to focus it on, keep focus on Region 2 because it's a regional program. But then there are other issues, there are national issues that we talk about, and some of those even affect our livelihoods and the livelihood of persons there in Region 2, the residents of Region 2. Tonight we have much to discuss on Region 2 and some general topics. I was hoping to get a former minister tonight on this program, former Minister of Health, Dr. Karen Cummings, to be on the program tonight, but unfortunately, she had prior commitment, so she could not be on the program tonight. So good night to each and every one of you. I trust that you're sharing the live. Good night to you, Pauline from Region 2. First from Region 2, good night. Ms. Toby, good night. I'm familiar with those names. Ramona, good night. Winston, good night to you. East the Penitence in the house. East the Penitence in the house. Gail Ali Cock, good night again. You're quite a good supporter of this program. I'm familiar with those names. Never met some of you in person, but I'm happy that you can, and you are welcoming me into your living room or your bedroom or wherever you might have a phone or a laptop or some other device where you can view this program. We have much to discuss, so I just want to quickly ask you to share the live. Good night to the folks from Bartica. I see some folks from Bartica here tonight. Linden always in the house. You know, Linden is one of our strongest support areas. And so I'm always happy whenever I see Lindeners on the program. Good night to the folks up in Mackenzie, up in Wisma. Special good night to you folks. Don't forget the folks in Berbice and up the Berbice River. You know, you can access the Berbice River from going through Linden, or you can go all the way through Berbice, through the coast, and you go east, and then you travel all the way. Last year, I was fortunate enough to visit communities in the Berbice River, along with the leader of the opposition, and they would have expressed various concerns with pension, the cost of living, general government services, and we would have highlighted that As soon as we came out, the leader of the opposition highlighted those issues, and then we heard about the Riverine grant being being granted to persons, to folks along the riverbanks and other folks. And so we are pleased to be your representative, to stand in your corner, and that is what we will continue to do. We'll continue to highlight and expose the excesses of the current government. You know, just this afternoon, speaking of excesses and exposing them, I saw the police issuing a bulletin, a wanted bulletin for Brother Ogunsi. You know, and I must say it's not unexpected. I believe everyone expected that type of action, knowing the behavior of the police. Well, not the police, but the behavior of the PPP rather, their thirst for domination and control, and that kind of domination and control that is exerted over the police force, which should be an independent body, which should be allowed to operate without fear or favor, independently to enforce and uphold the law, regardless to who you are, your political affiliation, your ethnicity, and so forth. But we see that is not the case here in Guyana. The police is controlled by those in power. Whenever the PPP is in government, this is the type of behavior you see from the Guyana police force. You had the VP first coming out to say, and this is what I'm told, I don't know if it's his direct words, but that Mr. Ogunse should be arrested. And so today, I'm not aware that he has been arrested, but I know I've seen a wanted bulletin out, and I want to be the first to condemn in the strongest possible terms the actions of the police force, you know, and the directives being given to them by the government. So we'll keep an eye on that. That is how they deal with their critics. We see Jagdiwat Babu John, the way how he ranted and raved. And speaking about that, I just saw a clip from the opposition leader addressing him once again, some of the lies being peddled by the vice president, and this time he's saying that the confirmation of the chancellor and judiciary is being held up by the leader of the opposition, and we know that not to be true. Since sometime last year, maybe close to a year now, the leader would have written to the president stating in clear terms that he supports the appointment, the confirmation, substantive appointment of the Chancellor, Justice Yonet Cummins, and the Chief Justice, Roxanne Wilshire. You know, so these are the type of lies that they peddle. They go out there and they peddle. And the leader of the opposition is clearly saying that, you know, these are distraction tactics from their incompetence, from their inability to deal with critical issues like the cost of living, and to distract against the corrupt practices that are growing in today's society under this PPP government. And so we're monitoring that as well. Just go ahead and share the live on your platforms. You know, I shared something on my page just recently, and we'll get to that in today's program. And it's about 100,000 views, shares, and comments on that little piece that I would have shared. Persons continue to share it, and so we will want to discuss the issues surrounding that post tonight and other issues. So, operator, yes, I see a comment there from Sharon, and she is saying that's the nonsense is going on in Guyana. and it should be one people, one nation, one destiny. That is our motto. But you have persons going around, the president and others going around and talking, giving lip service to this one Guyana platform. But when you look at their actions, they tell you something else. And so we'll want to touch on that as well. We'll touch on the distribution of contracts as we see it progressing. We'll touch a little on that tonight. And so, operator, let's get straight into tonight's program. And if you can pull up the first slide, I must apologize for the late start. I was out of office, busy with the leader of the opposition. We are on some outreach every day. I tell people this. I say this to people every single day. The leader of the opposition is out there doing something. He's always doing something, always on the ground, staying in contact with the people. And so that is what we've been doing. The only way you can properly represent people is to stay in contact with them, to be on the ground, to listen to their issues, and to put them forward. Just recently, the leader of the opposition was in Virginia, and based on the concerns there, the neglect of that community by this PPP government, we were able to put forward that on our press conference. And lo and behold, the government ran in there and tried to do the right thing. What they were to do in the first place. And so you got to expose them. You got to be on the ground. You got to expose them. You got to call them out. And so it shouldn't be only us as members of parliament, as councillors, but you, the people of this country, have got to call them out. Have got to stand up. I've got to participate in this fight, because if you don't, before you know it, the PPP will, just walk all over the citizens of this country, and particularly the opposition supporters. So there you have on the screen parts of our walkabout in Sophia area. This is a road on the screen. If you can go back there, that is 8th Field. 8th Field, you have A field, and then it's the 8th field that is, or section A, and then you have the 8th field within section A, and that is the condition, and this is Georgetown. We're not talking about some rural area. This is Georgetown, and this is what we talk about when we mention discrimination. Some people don't like to hear the term being used, but this is discrimination. From my understanding, they are not handing over Sophia to the council, and so there's only so much that the council can do. And the government, we see what the government has not been doing for the people of Sophia. And frankly speaking, you talk with these people, they're fed up. The cost of living is killing them. They're struggling to get through day by day. And then you have issues like the roads. One woman said to me, the taxi doesn't want to come into this road. Another said to me that their vehicle, the whole bottom was damaged, the bumper damaged, the exhaust damaged. This is what people have to go through in an oil and gas economy. Good night to you, Sasha Semple, all the way from French Guyana. I'm happy that people are following. People in the diaspora are following. And we've got to step it up. We've got to let our voices be heard. That is what we have got to do as Guyanese together. And do not believe for any moment that it is only Afro-Guyanese that are affected. Largely, yes, but there are thousands and thousands of Indo-Guyanese who are equally struggling. Who are fighting to get proper drainage, who are still fighting to get their roads fixed within their communities, within the indigenous community as well. We have a lot of problems there. they're putting out some of these, they're telling the world and the country that they're improving electricity, and they're putting generators in certain indigenous communities. But then when you go on the ground and you talk to the people there, they cannot afford to wire their homes. So what is the point of putting the generator? You have it sitting there, and then they cannot wire the homes. But I'll deal with the indigenous issues. I'll dedicate a part of my program or an entire program uh, for strictly indigenous issues. And so I want to come back to base where we're doing these walkabouts. Myself would have been in Region 2. Operator, if you can pull the very first slide, Region 2, I would have also been doing some walkabouts. And there you have the leader playing some cricket, engaging people. You have myself and other leaders engaging persons. And in the very first slide, I think you have me in region number 2, doing some walkabouts in speaking to the people of Dartmouth. The street is in a mess that we were on there. The street is in an absolute mess. It's one of the concerns of the people there, and they're very conscious. They're very conscious as to the discrimination being meted out against them, because when you look at some other communities, since I've been calling them out as the member of parliament, and local government elections have been announced, they are now rushing into some areas where they believe that they have strong support, and they're doing roads wrong and wrong, all the roads there. In Anne Regina, for example, they have 20 roads being done there. But then when you come to places like Dartmouth and Danielstown and Queenstown, you have 1 or 2 roads. And then sometimes it is not the road that is in the worst shape that you're trying to do, but because of some other politics, maybe the persons who have fields at in the backlands might be perceived supporters of them, so they choose to do that road. So this is the way of the PPP, but we will stay on the ground. We will stay in contact, as Mr. Norton and the team has promised. We will stay in contact. We will fight for you. We will continue to represent you. And, the message is catching on. Independents are now sounding their voices. The newspapers have now, the big newspapers, the big dailies have now been putting out the PPP's excesses there. And it's obviously annoying Mr. Jack Dio. And so he's chosen to call them out. But I don't think that serves any purpose. It doesn't serve his political party well, because these are not persons that are affiliated with the APNU AFC or the PNC. They're not affiliated with us. These are independents. These are transparency and accountability advocates, people like Christopher Ram and Gulsaran and the Guyana Human Rights. I was saying to one person the other day, as soon as human rights criticize them for this EID card and the amount of money and the apparent corruption that is involved in it, with the sole sourcing and the middleman and all of that, Al Maktoum, the fellow named Al Maktoum, the middleman, since the Guyana Human Rights Association has been calling them out, you see all sorts of derogatory things they start to put out there. They start to put out that the Guyana human rights, their finance are not in order, and they owe taxes and whatever. Listen to me. Nobody gives a rat's ass about whether the Guyana Human Rights Association is with regard to their finances, or the taxes that they pay. The organization is a human rights organization. They have a right to speak. They have a right to highlight the excesses wherever there are violations to human rights and other violations. They have a right. So nobody cares about these nonsense that they're putting out, but they can't see past their noses, because they're embroiled in corruption, they're embroiled in shady deals, and so their main focus is to rebut and to put whatever dirt they believe, or to put a slant, or to sully people's character. That is what they do. And this is not the first time we are seeing it. This is not the first time. Prior to 2015, we had lots of that. It got to the extent where they were assassinating people, the administration. It got to the point where they had phantom squads killing people whomever they didn't agree with. Whomever they didn't agree with. And so it is nothing new to Guyana, but I'm warning people. I'm warning the citizens of this country, whether you're Afro-Guyanese, whether you're Indo-Guyanese, whether you're indigenous or from the mixed races. I'm warning you. I'm pleading with you. We've got to come together and stand as one against this repression. We've got to stand up and let our voices be heard. Let us not wait on any leader from the opposition party or any community leader. We have got to take the baton and run with it. We've all have our part to do, lest we're all consumed by this dictatorship. Lest we're all consumed by this dictatorship. We have to be extremely careful. Today, it's an arrest for Ogunsi. Tomorrow, it might be you. It might be you. We cannot afford to have a country where people cannot speak. And if they speak, you have charges being brought, trumped up charges. You have charges of treason. The law being misused. So your voice has got to be heard. Operator, we can move on from the outreach. We can hit the next topic, since we have lots to discuss here, lots and lots to discuss here tonight, and I want to ensure that we get through. Now, discrimination is the hallmark of this PPP administration. Discrimination, corruption is the hallmark of this PPP administration. And, I like to bring up this piece that the opposition would have said about the award of contracts, because we're seeing it every single day. We're seeing it every single day. We're not seeing Afro-Guyanese getting contracts. We're not seeing indigenous Guyanese getting contracts. And as much as we're seeing a few, what we're seeing is it is a few Indo-Guyanese family, friends, and favorite of the PPP. The masses of the Indo-Guyanese community are not getting anything either. So don't let us run away with the idea that every Indo-Guyanese is getting something. They are not. Many of them are equally annoyed with what this administration has been doing and continues to do. Just today, I had a text message, not a text, a WhatsApp message from a Muslim fellow, who said he was disgusted. He brought it to my attention, the award of contract, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that shortly. But there is major disparity in the award of contracts. And very few are getting rich very, very quickly. New contractors, and I have nothing against new contractors, but when you see a new contractor that you've never heard before, and he doesn't own any equipment or anything of the sort, and you see him getting $100 million contract, you know something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong. And so we will continue to speak out against this. And the time will come when we will have to take action as a people, collectively. Afro-Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese, indigenous people, we will have to take action. If you could go to the next slide, operator. Now, this problem is not today. This problem came about with the disparity in contracts. The previous PPP government under Barrett Jagdeo was equally discriminatory in their practice, in the award of contracts. On screen, I have what we did in 1999. All and sundry would have recognized the need for fair award of contracts, for sharing it, so to speak, so that everyone can benefit. The PNC led the way in establishing the Public Procurement Commission, where persons can appeal the award, if they think that they were robbed of not getting a contract, they can appeal. The PPP never implemented it. In the constitutional award, the constitutional changes that we were hoping to make in 2001, from 1999 all the way to 2001, the PNC was fighting for this. All and sundry would have recognized it. You had civil society pitching in their voice, a number of groups saying that this is what we want. We want equity. We want equity. We want a fair distribution. And so we would have fought for that. But the PPP thwarted the establishment of the Public Procurement Commission, and they continued that the cabinet governed everything. You would recall when we came into government in 2015, they really can't, the PPP has nothing on us. They tried their best to put us in a bad light, but we were 1,000 times better, our administration, than this PPP government. When we came to power, immediately we enforced the law, the legislation, and we brought that commission into operation. We operationalized the Public Procurement Commission, and so persons were complaining. Persons had an opportunity, an avenue to contest any award of contract. But you hadn't very much complaints because everybody was getting contract. Everybody were getting, to the extent that Bar Jagdeo goes out there and he tells people that, mostly Indians were getting contract. We could not have fixed everything in the 5 years. In fact, in the 3 years up to 2018, because you had the no confidence motion then, we could not have fixed everything, but we moved in a progressive way. We showed clearly that there were enough contracts, there were enough resources, and everybody can live. Everybody could have gotten a bread. And that is the way of the APNU AFC. That is our policy in the PNC. The most vulnerable, we must have equity. The most vulnerable, the people that are at the bottom need more to bring them up to that level. And that is the policy that we will pursue when we get back into government. Empower those at the bottom, create a wider middle class. They're trying to, the PPP's policy seemed to be one of friends, family, and favorites. And that is what we have again in 2023, from 2020 to 2023. If you can move the next slide, operator. This is what we've been fighting against since in the 90s. And I like to use this chart from a small study that was done. A small study that was done. And it clearly showed where the contracts are going. And it doesn't say that 71% of the Indo population getting something. They're not. It is a very, very small, very, very small group of friends, family, and favorites that are getting these contracts. And so, operator, if you can move to the next slide. Someone seems to be calling me constantly. If you can move to the next slide. Now, today, I saw this, and this is from three days ago. It's from the outreach. It's from the outreach in Victoria. Now, they didn't know Victoria all the time. Last year, we were on the ground in Victoria, and the people were complaining bitterly about their farm to market road. They were complaining bitterly. We did a press conference. We at the parliament, at the budget presentation, we would have highlighted it. Many of our speakers, including the leader of the opposition, I believe, would have highlighted the suffering that is happening that the farmers there are going through. The farmers of Victoria, Nabaklis, Golden Grove, all those areas. And so now they're under pressure. Their base is dwindling because of their practices. And so their local government election seem to be on the horizon. At least they've announced it. So they run into Victoria and say, oh, we love you. We will do this, we will do that. Last year, they would have promised, if you go and check the record of this same fellow, Mustafa, in Parliament, they would have promised to address these very issues that they come back now to promise again. These very issues. And so I thought that we should discuss it. I went on the page and I made a comment to say exactly what I just said. That, you know, these are promises. Last year we highlighted it and they keep promising it again. And it's due to local government election. That is why they're obviously running into these communities. And to my surprise, they have persons there working the page that are obviously paid to rebut anyone who disagrees with them or highlight their discrimination. And so it brings me to the next slide. So they made a rebuttal, and you can see it, it's on the screen there. It's on the screen there. This is what they said. The people of Victoria and the entire country were neglected by APNU. The people of Victoria were very, very happy with the works that were done and will be done in Victoria. You know, they take the people of this country for fools. We don't know what the PPP did. We don't know what the PPP did. The people of Victoria don't know about the discrimination. They don't know about it. They destroyed the agriculture base in those communities. They destroyed the agriculture base in those communities. Pull the next slide, operator. They destroyed it totally, all the way down to Buxton. And this is what I said to them. I said, stop making political statements that you can't validate. The PPP practically destroyed all the farmlands in those Afro-Guyanese communities during their 23-year rule. And it was due to them ignoring the drainage issue, due to them ignoring the infrastructural issues, the dams, and the other structures there, infrastructure structures, and other needs. They help financial assistance and other assistance that farmers needed to return to the field, to stay in the fields. The people of Buxton certainly would tell you about this. Same as the people of Victoria. So no amount of PR or no amount of you have your trolls, your paid trolls on social media. This is exactly what Jack Dio encouraged at Babu John the other day, if you would recall. He told them that you have to get on social media. We're losing the battle. APNU threw us overboard in 2015, and so you got to go out there and put out your propaganda. You got to rebuke what they're saying, the facts, rebut it, and put your own thing out there. This is exactly what he's talking about. They did it in 2015, 2014, 2013. They did it. They did it. But no amount of propaganda and photo opportunities will change the results of the next general and regional elections. We are confident that we will get back into government. The PPP are up to their old ways, as you can see. This is what got them out of government. But they can't change. They can't change. One would have thought that with oil and gas and all these resources, they would have been plenty for everyone, and so they would have do the right thing. But there is no right in the PPP book. There is no right in their books. Their aim, their sole aim, is to fill their pockets, dominate and control the political landscape, and fill their pockets. Because while you're dominating and controlling, you create chaos and confusion. And chaos and confusion breeds an environment conducive for corruption. And that is exactly what they're doing. Quickly go to the next slide. I really want to bring out the main topic. And so, operator, if we can move to the next slide. So we're into the award of contracts, and I will go through some of this quickly because I want to spend some time on the drug issue in Region 2. But they've just awarded some contracts there to the tune of $1.3 billion. And guess who is the main beneficiary? Guess who is the main beneficiary? That's right, Gaisuku again. Always in the news. You can't do anything else for the people of Berbice. You only need them as cane cutters. They must follow the PPP slavishly. They can't be engineers and doctors and lawyers and oil and gas experts and that kind of thing. They gotta be cane cutters. They gotta cut and grind cane till they die, and the children take over. That is the future. This is the PPP ideology. Keep them in ignorance, and they will continue to follow you. That is how they maintain their base. That is how they maintain their base. But, more and more of the people are getting wiser. And that is why you see them scattering. Now, Gaisuku, we all know, I don't have to stress the position of Gaisuku. When they were in opposition and we attempted to right-size Gaisuku, they went all over this country and created problems for the right-sizing of Gaisuku. At one time, they were saying, look, we have the lowest production ever. We have the lowest production ever. Of course, you will have the lowest production. If you are closing down some big factories, then your production will drop. And that year, it was about just under 100,000 tons. That is in 2019. Come the PPP in power. There come the PPP in power. What they did was to reduce the target to about 88,000, I believe, or 80,000, somewhere there about. And even that target they could not have made. They made somewhere around 60-something thousand. Well short. And then they tried to say to the public that, it is the floods. The floods. And when you calculate the acreage even if you give them maximum yield, they still would not have achieved the target. And from then on, the target constantly reduced. The targets constantly, the sugar output to the point, and they never made it, never achieved their targets. What they're going about telling you is, we just made a great weekly target. We made it weekly. They're 52 weeks in a year. Don't tell me about 1 week every now and then. You're telling me, oh, this week we made the target. The targets keep going down and down and down till it's somewhere to about 40,000 or less at this point, and they still can't make that target. Adversely, the money keeps growing. The money keeps growing. You're reducing your target on one hand, but you're increasing the funding by billions. This is not thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions. Billions of dollars being pumped into Gaisuku. Billions of dollars. And at the end of it, we have sugar shortage. Even the people of this country had to line up. You know, they like to say in Burnham time, you had to line up. You had to line up for rice and peas. And well, we lined up in 2023, oil-rich Guyana. We lined up in 2022, rather. We lined up for sugar. Some of us cannot even afford to purchase sugar, even when it's available. But they're pumping more money into the organization. And if the opposition speaks about it, then you hear that we're against the people and their livelihood. We are not. We are not. When we closed down Wales Estate, there were persons ready to invest in coconut farming there. The persons ready, there was a big company. The no confidence brought that to a halt. And then the PPP didn't follow it up. Now they're trying to use that to justify the gas to shore project. But I don't want to get into that because that is another topic. We might have to dedicate a whole program to discuss these issues. Now, I want to zone in on the award of contracts, as I said earlier. And operator, if you can quickly move through the slides. We have lots of slides. You know, and this is the guy, this is the culprit he's the head, the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister, Mustafa. It is his ministry under his watch. If we can go on, operator. 1.3 billion. Just take a look at it if you observe anything. And this is an Indo-Guyanese sent this to me. A Muslim, he's sick and fed up of the disparity in the award of contract. Billions. These are the folks, and not all of them there, because you have some staff, and so the Afro woman peeping at the back is a staff, as a senior staff. This is the situation in this country. Once we continue to do these type of things, we have to be conscious. We have to be conscious in every area of government. Whether it's the award of contracts, whatever the resources, whether we are giving out grants, we have to take into account the diverse nature of this country. We have to take into account our history and our race relations. This doesn't help. The PPP is a racist regime. They are racist. And though they might take pictures and photo ops with persons of opposite race, and when you look at their actions, it speaks to racism. It doesn't help. You can't come to me and say, well, oh, no blacks or no indigenous applied for the contract, bid for the contract. They stop bidding. They gotta stop bidding. Some of them, because there's no point in spending money constantly. You're spending tens of thousands of dollars and you're not getting any work. And then when you get to work, you get the smallest job. And you still got to cater for a kickback for them. It cannot work. And so they're wiping from the face of the contracting world other races. And there are a number of seasoned Indo contractors that are not getting work either. Many of these on the screen are new contractors. Many of them. This is March 29th, yesterday, signing of contract. $1.13 billion. Take a look. 2 weeks ago, and we'll get to that. Go down, operator. Go down the line. Let's move to the next slide. These are the same folks yesterday. Yesterday, look at them. Look. Back up to that one. Back up to the one before. That bottom right, the contractor in the white shirt. I have nothing against any of these contractors. I have nothing against them. Some of them I know. I have nothing against them. But I'm trying to point out the disparity here. The fellow in the white, he's in this week's 1.13 billion. 2 weeks ago, I will show you that he was there also. So we're giving more and more to the same people, to a few, while others are not getting anything. And there are Indo-Guyanese contractors who are not getting either, who are very experienced, who should be getting, and they're not. Go down the line. Now, keep your eye. Remember that face. Let's go down the line. Go down the line quickly. We're running. Time is running. You know, look, this is the one Afro-Guyanese. I don't know him. Whether he's a new contractor like the Hits and Jams fellas up in Linden that got the $200 or $300 million contract for Barbia School, which cannot which cannot be completed up to now. I don't know if he's one of them, but I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. He's one in a million. But actually one in the few. Let's go on. That is yesterday from Mustafa. That is yesterday from Mustafa. Let's look at 2 weeks ago, March 13. Same Mustafa again. Same culprit. Same culprit. And he's a senior in the PPP. You recognize something? You recognize something? You spot it? You spot it? You see the fellow? We'll have another picture so you can see him much clearly from a different angle. You see the team there? That was a $1.8 billion 2 weeks ago. You see what I'm talking about? And I have no problem with these people getting contracts. Absolutely no problem with them getting contracts. But we've got to do things differently. Good night, Mr. Aziz. We've got to do things differently. A Muslim brother messaged me this afternoon to say this is not. He was the one who brought it to my attention. He said to me, he said, this is the problem. This is a core problem in this country. He doesn't understand it. While Irfan is a Muslim, he will not support him. He will not support these kinds of practices because he doesn't, as a Muslim, he doesn't believe in it. Other Muslims have got to speak out. We cannot worry about Irfan is a Muslim brother, so we gonna go to hell and back with him. He's got to do what is right in the eyes of God, if not in the eyes of man. He's got to do what is right. If he's a true Muslim, he's got to do what is right. And it's not scrambling people's children and posing for photo ops, or posing with some black person, or attempting to shake the opposition leader hand, and these kind of PR stunts. Let's go down the road. You know, the issue that I want to discuss here, I may have to skip. This is the fella. He's there. So I'm saying family or friend. Let us ask the question. He was in the $1.8 billion award 2 weeks before. 2 weeks later, he on the money again. I don't know the fellow. I don't know him. Let's go straight to the final issue. I will have to come back to what we are proposing as a party. I'm sorry, I don't want to get to clash too much with the other program, but I want to discuss this issue of dumping of drugs. I took these pictures. This is at the back of Queenstown, Zurg and Light area on the Esquibo Coast. And I'm saying to you that too often we see these type of nonsense happening. When I go through this file, and I was very wrong to hold some of these things, I placed myself at risk. But when I went through this file, you could have seen so many things that could have been offered to people, so many things that are in great shortages in the region and in so many other health facilities. Yet you see the government dumping them. You see the government just dumping these items. Needed items, diabetic supplies, ventilating equipment could save your life. Things like gauze. You know, play it, operator. Just play the video.
Medical supplies in this area from out of this Saudi hospital. We were reliably informed. I took quite a while to find it in this secret dump site way behind Queenstown. So we've just located it, and so we can take a look to see what we can confirm here. So straight off the bat, I'm seeing Pampers, new Pampers. These are new Pampers and other medical supplies. New stuff. Some still in the pack, small ones, large ones. I see drapers. These look brand new, pretty much brand new drapers here. You can see them; they're very brand new. Lots and sheet block. You got here some still in boxes. Still in the boxes here. Let's take a look. So you can see it. Okay, this is brand new cotton. Whatever medical purpose. I'm not seeing an expiry date, but I don't know. The Ministry of Health needs to explain this. These are items. I don't know if they would have expired. You got sponge, paper tapes, syringes, brand new syringes. Just raise your camera here. You catching me? Yes, brand new syringes here. So you know exactly where your toxic dollars are going. These are brand new, some kind of special, seem to be special syringes. Just follow me. You got some kind of equipment here. I don't know if this is it's something to do with ear. If it's a ventilator or something. It seems very brand new. Your hoses here, everything seems pretty much brand new. Here, let's go. There's a lot of here. But test tubes, new test tubes, whole box of them. Just come around here. You got some kind of substance here, some kind of moisturizer, some sterile something. I don't really know these medical things. This is a multi drug screening kit, still in the box, brand new. It, see, I'm now opening it. You have the instructions and whatever here, and then you got the test kits here.
Operator, we can pull
these are some other medical
video
and kits. Not.
We can pull the video. For folks who haven't seen it, you can check my page or the APNO AFC page. But I want to give you an opportunity to listen to the response, the 1.5-minute response from the RHO. Operator, if you can pull that up. 1.5 minutes, leading health officer in the region. If you can pull that up. Now, basically what the RHO in his response to this, he's saying that, these items, first of all, they were received from Food for the Poor, and in 2018-19, in 2019, and now they're expired, and so and they were stored in some room infested with bats. All sorts of excuses, all sorts of frivolous excuses, for which he provided no evidence whatsoever.
Region number 2. Today I am doing this video to video circulating on Facebook last Friday by the Member of Parliament Shurwayne Holder, who visited a dump site at Zorgan Light, where he posted a video of the Regional Health Services dumping medical supplies at this dump site. I want to state clearly that these medical supplies, first of all, was a donation by Food for the Poor, and this donation was made in 2018-2019, where these medical supplies were stored in a living quarter in the compound of Public Hospital Study. As far as I can remember, staff were given the opportunity to, from time to time again, nurses and other staff, to select some of the items that can be used. However, at this moment, these items, most of them are expired or cannot be used since they are stored in an untidy room and it is infested by bats. So I want to state that these items were not destroyed items that were purchased by the Ministry of Health nor by the Regional Democratic Council of Region number 2, where he posted a video of
Pull it
the
up,
Regional
because that
Health
is a
Services
repeat.
dumping
It's a repeat now. It's just
medical
1.5 minutes.
supplies at this.
You see, it's a pathetic response. He first tries to say to the nation that these items were from Food for the Poor, so it doesn't matter. That's absurd. That is absurd. We got boats and other stuff from donors as a government, so we should just park them. We should just do what we want with them. They now become part of the supply of the medical supplies of the hospital. These are not toys. These are not, things. These are medical supplies needed. You have insulin things, insulin stuff, supplies there. And if you follow the video, you would see it. You have things like gauze, things that could not have possibly expired. Now we don't know if it expired or not. He didn't provide any evidence. But what I know, he implicated himself, because he was the REO and continues to, not REO, the RHO, Regional Health Officer, from since 2020. You had stuff being received from 2019. How are we to know that? So you're saying from since 2019, the Food for the Poor did not give any other donation? How are we to know that you're dumping stuff that Food for the Poor just gave you? Or within the stuff there is a mixture of some of the ordinary stuff and some from Food for the Poor that would have been dumped? We don't know that. And he implicated himself by saying that he had prior knowledge. And he established that permission was given for nurses and other staff to take stuff there from the room. And that is in itself a contradiction. It is a contradiction because on one hand, you're saying that these stuff would have been expired or damaged or not stored properly, so you shouldn't use them. And on the other hand, you're saying you give permission for them to be distributed. And so I don't buy that explanation. We don't buy, the point is, the core point is that this practice has got to stop. It has got to cease. Too many times, millions of dollars in drugs and pharmaceuticals and other medical supplies are being dumped. We've got to stop it. The onus was on the RHO when he took over. If you had some damage, some were still good, you had to sort them out. You had to get rid of, properly dump those that were damaged and then distribute those that were still good. So I don't buy it. And so I'm saying to you that an investigation needs to happen immediately. Immediately. There is also the process of the issue with dumping the items. Clearly, this is not the way prescribed to dump medical waste. Anyone can access it the same way that I accessed it. This was being dumped in a farming community. There are farms left, right, and center around this dump site. And the stuff is just, they're just lying there. They're just lying there. And it is dumped to the eastern side of the access road, upwind. And so that is another problem. There's a prescribed process. There's a strict process for the dumping of medical supplies. You have to make out a list of the items that you're claiming that have expired or damaged or no good. You have to send that, you have to write central about this or send them a memo, whatever. Then folks from the food and drug unit will come down to verify, to ensure that they're properly packaged, because it's not one size fits all when it comes to medical supply. You have different rules that you have to follow, how you have to package them for disposal. And so once that is done, while that is being done, the Office of the Auditor General, a representative, also an officer, has to be there to again confirm and sign off on it. And then you have to move to dispose of it in the recommended way, either by burning it or by burying it. And obviously, as you see, neither was done. So the RHO can't come and do a minute and a half, press release to debunk this thing. There needs to be a proper investigation. He had to acknowledge, first of all, that there were breaches in the process from acquisition to storage to distribution to disposal. There were several breaches there, and there should be an investigation. Recommendations have to be made to correct this. And we can't continue to waste taxpayers' money. I heard him saying that it's from Food for the Poor. We don't know that. We don't know that. And even if it's from Food for the Poor, that doesn't give you the right. And I'm happy that Food for the Poor came out with a statement today and stated clearly that they don't supply expired drugs. When they supply drugs to the ministry or to health institutions in this country, seniors have to, they're first told, made known of the expiry date, and they have to sign off on it, and then it is their duty to utilize it before the expiry date. That is the process. So there is no excuse here, absolutely no excuse with what we are seeing here. And so the underpinning issue is not only about dumping the waste, but is the wastage of good stuff, things that people need, things that you can get in the hospitals. About 100,000 persons would have engaged that post. And it signals to us that the health system, it signals to us the concern of the people, that the people are very much concerned with what is happening. And the health system is obviously in a crisis. It's in a crisis under this PPP government. We've got to stop this kind of practice. And then it's a health hazard also being created by the hospital. And so I want to bring the curtains down on tonight's program. I know Sherrod is waiting in the ring, is up next. And I want to encourage you. To tune in to the next program that is upcoming there, and also to come back on this page, same time, same place, next week, Thursday, again, when we can continue this discussion. Every week is something happening. Or we can continue this discussion on the PPP's poor governance and all that is happening in this country under this PPP government. I want to say special thanks to all those folks that would have tuned in tonight. And I want to wish you all the best for the remainder of your night. Continue to follow us. Continue to be involved in our discussions. Continue to follow what is happening in your country, and begin to speak out. Begin to speak to fellow citizens. Begin to speak to your neighbors. Begin to post on social media. Begin to expose this administration or any administration that is in default. Once again, thanks for joining me tonight. God bless and good night. See you next Thursday, same time, same place. God bless you. Thank you.